There are some houses that just look creepy, like this one with the overgrown bushes and boarded up windows. But what if a house wasn't just creepy, but actually haunted by demons? That's exactly what happened at the Amityville horror house, or so the story goes. In 1974, a house in New York turned evil. What began as a normal year for George and Kathy Lutz soon became a terrifying fight for survival against demonic forces. Bump in the night, they realized that their new home had a dark secret. It was clear that the charming colonial revival-style home had some issues, but it was worth fixing up. So the couple made an offer on the home. The only problem was the previous owner had brutally murdered his entire family inside those four walls. How could something like that happen here? This place looks so nice. Well, looks can be deceiving. The latches moved right in. The following months were blissful and without incident, leading them to believe that maybe the negative energy circulating around the home was just a rumor. However, their peace didn't last long. One night, Kathy awoke to find her husband levitating above their bed, reading the newspaper. At first, she thought she was having a vivid dream, but then he disappeared right before her eyes. When she called out to him, his reply sounded distant and unfamiliar. His voice didn't sound like her own husband's. Instead, it sounded as though it were coming from beyond the grave. Startled, Kathy got out of bed and noticed that all the crucifixes she had hung around the room had fallen to the floor. She ran to the bathroom and splashed water on her face, trying to calm down. Maybe it was stress. Maybe she needed more sleep. She shook off the experience and went back to bed, hoping for a peaceful night's rest. Instead, she heard scratching sounds directly above her. It sounded like fingernails on a chalkboard, which may not have been too far from the truth. As it turned out, their bedroom was directly above the spot where 6 people had been brutally murdered. As time passed, more strange occurrences took place. George and Kathy witnessed apparitions, shaking objects, and even experienced demonic voices whispering in their ears. Feeling helpless and desperate for answers, they turned to Father Delaney, a local priest who specialized in exorcisms. Upon hearing their tale, he agreed to perform a blessing on the house. Unfortunately, this did little to stop the ghostly activity. If anything, it seemed to make things worse. In the middle of the night, Kathy was awoken to the smell of sulfur. She saw a cloaked figure standing at the foot of their bed. Bitter, it took a step forward, and the bed began to shake violently. Kathy screamed for George, but he was fast asleep and couldn't hear her cries for help. The figure loomed over her, reaching out with a finger. Suddenly, George awoke and grabbed the finger. He wrestled with the apparition until it finally vanished. After that night, the ghostly encounters escalated. Kathy felt a cold presence behind her as she walked through the halls. Once, she even felt something brush against her leg, as if someone had run into her. Turning around, she saw nothing. Throughout the house, paintings of Jesus Christ fell from the walls, and in the bedrooms, the crucifixes mysteriously rotated 90 degrees. Even the family dog cowered in fear, refusing to enter certain rooms. These signs indicated that the house was harboring malevolent entities. One day, while the family was gathered around the dinner table, the The lights flickered and the television turned on by itself. They tried to change the channel, but the set was stuck on one particular program. It was snowing outside, so they assumed that perhaps the power was going out. But no. The blizzard continued, and the show remained on the air. And that wasn't all. The family also heard footsteps pacing back and forth in the attic directly above them. Was this just a snow day special, or was there really a ghost in the attic? After these events, the Lutz family decided to leave the house. Bye. But when they called a priest to bless the home before they sold it, things took a turn for the worse. During the ceremony, the priest suddenly collapsed. As the family stood there in shock, a cloaked figure appeared and uttered, "Get out, Den." It lunged toward the priest and vanished. Of course, the family left immediately. The next owners of the home were well aware of its sinister reputation and planned to tear it down. However, they soon encountered obstacles as they prepared for demolition. First, they couldn't find any blueprints of the house. Then, whenever they entered the basement, they felt an overwhelming sense of dread. They quickly backed out of the deal. For years, stories circulated about the house, keeping it in the public spotlight. But is there any truth to these tales? The events surrounding the Amityville horror house are the subject of much debate. While skeptics claim it's a hoax, believers argue that the house is genuinely cursed. Those who believe in the haunting point to the many strange and unexplainable events that have taken place there. From the mysterious deaths of the DeFeo family to the bizarre behavior of the Lutz family. They believe that the house is cursed and that the evil presence within it drove Ronald DeFeo to murder his entire family. Supporters of the haunting theory also believe that the house is responsible for the strange and terrifying experiences reported by the Lutz family. They point to the fact that the apparitions and other paranormal activities seemed to escalate after the family moved in as evidence that the house was actively trying to drive them out. Additionally, the sudden collapse of the priest during the blessing ceremony suggests that the house is truly cursed and that the evil presence within it is not easily subdued. On the other hand, skeptics claim that the Amityville horror is nothing more than a hoax perpetrated by George and Kathy Lutz in order to make money. They believe that the couple fabricated the story and the paranormal activity in order to promote George's book about the supposed haunting. Critics of the hoax theory argue that there is no evidence to support it, and that the strange and terrifying experiences reported by the Lutz family are too numerous and too intense to be simply made up. They believe that the curse is real and that the evil presence in the house is responsible for the behavior exhibited by the... Ultimately, the truth behind the Amityville horror remains a mystery. There is no concrete evidence to support either the haunting or the hoax theory, leaving it up to each individual to decide what they believe. However, one thing is certain: the story of the Amityville horror house has captured the public's imagination and continues to fascinate people around the world. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, it's hard to deny that the events surrounding the Amityville horror house are truly bizarre and unsettling. From the mysterious death of Ronald DeFeo to the strange experiences reported by the Lutz family, There is something about this case that just doesn't add up. Perhaps there is a curse on the house, or maybe it's simply a case of mass hysteria. We may never know for sure. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next one.